Hare Krishna, and we're continuing with the book called Raja Vidya, the King of Knowledge by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, page number 57. Although Arjuna personally accepts the statements of Sri Krishna, in order to clarify the situation for people who would come after him, he asks, Aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvata katham etad vijaniyam tvam adau proktavaniti. The sun god Vivasvan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed the science to him? Unquote, Bhagavad Gita 4.4. Actually, this is a very intelligent question, and Krishna answers it in this way. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam veta parantapa. Quote, many births, both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Bhagavad Gita 4.5. Although Krishna is God, he incarnates many times. Arjuna, being a living entity, also takes his birth many times. The difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and a living entity is Tanyaham Veda Sarvani. Krishna remembers the events of his past incarnations, whereas the living entity cannot remember. That is one of the differences between God and man. God is eternal, and we are also eternal, but the difference is that we are always changing our bodies. At death, we forget the events of our lifetime. Death means forgetfulness, after all. That's all. At night, when we go to sleep, we forget that we are the husband of such and such, a wife, and the father of such and such, children. We forget ourselves in sleep, and when we wake up, we remember, oh, I am so and so, and I must do such and such. It is a fact that in our previous lives we had other bodies with other families, fathers, mothers, and so on in other countries, but we have forgotten all of those. We might have been dogs or cats or men or gods, demigods, right? Whatever we were, we have not now forgotten. We have now forgotten. Despite all these changes, as living entities, we are eternal. Just as in previous lives we have prepared for this body, in this lifetime we are preparing for another body. We get our bodies according to our karma or activities. Those who are in the mode of goodness are promoted to higher planets in a higher status of life. Bhagavad Gita 14.14. Those who die in the mode of passion remain on earth, and those who die in the mode of ignorance may fall into the animal species of life or may be transferred to a lower planet. Bhagavad Gita 14.15. This is the process that has been going on, but we forget it. At one time, Indra, the king of heaven, committed an offense at the feet of his spiritual master, and his spiritual master cursed him to take the birth of a hog. Thus, the throne of the heavenly kingdom became empty as Indra went to earth to become a hog. Seeing the situation, Brahma came to earth and addressed the hog, My dear sir, you have become a hog on this planet Earth. I have come to deliver you. Come with me at once. But the hog replied, Oh, I cannot go with you. I have so many responsibilities, my children, my wife, such a nice hog society. Even though Brahma promised to take him back to heaven, Indra, in the form of a hog, refused. This is called forgetfulness. Similarly, Lord Sri Krishna comes and says to us, What are you doing in this material world? Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Come to me and I'll give you all protection. But we say, I don't believe you, sir. I have more important business here. This is the position of the conditioned soul, forgetfulness. This forgetfulness is quickly dissipated by following in the path of disciplic succession. Hariba! Jai, such a beautiful chapter, which we have now concluded, and we're starting chapter number 6, entitled Knowledge of Krishna's Appearances and Activities. There are two forces of nature working in us. By one, we decide that in this lifetime we will make spiritual advancement. But at the next moment, the other force, Maya, or illusory energy, says, "What is all this trouble that you're going to just enjoy this life and be easy with yourself?" This tendency to fall into forgetfulness is the difference between God and man. Arjuna is a companion and associate of Krishna's, and whenever Krishna appears on any planet, Arjuna also takes birth and appears with him. When Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to the sun god, Arjuna was also present with him. But, being a finite living entity, Arjuna could not remember. Forgetfulness is the nature of the living entity. We cannot even remember what we were doing at this exact time yesterday or a week ago. If we cannot remember this, how is it possible to remember what happened in our previous lives? At this point, we may ask how it is that Krishna can remember and we cannot. And the answer is that Krishna does not change his body. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropisan prakritim svamadhishtaya sambhavam yatma mayaya. Although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Unquote, Bhagavad Gita 4.6. The word Atma Mayaya means that Krishna descends as he is. He does not change his body, but we, as conditioned souls, change ours. And because of this, we forget. Krishna knows not only the past, present, and future of his activities, but the past, present, and future of everyone's activities. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mamtu veda nakaschana. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. Unquote, Bhagavad Gita 7.26. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we also find that the Supreme Lord is defined as one who knows everything. This is not the case with even the most elevated living entities, such as Brahma or Shiva. Only Vishnu or Krishna knows everything. We may also ask that if the Lord does not change his body, why does he come as an incarnation? There is much difference among philosophers concerning this question. Some say that Krishna assumes a material body when he comes, but this is not the case. If he assumed a material body like ours, he could not remember, for forgetfulness is due to the material body. The actual conclusion is that he doesn't change his body. God is called all-powerful, and in the verse above mentioned, his omnipotence is explained. Krishna has no birth, for he is eternal. And he is eternal. Similarly, the living entity has no birth, and he is also eternal. It is only the body with which the living entity identifies that takes birth. In the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, Krishna explains that What we accept as birth and death is due to the body, and as soon as we regain our spiritual body, we get out of the contamination of birth and death. We should be qualitatively as good as Krishna. That is the whole process of Krishna consciousness, the revival of our original Satchitananda spiritual body. The body is eternal, Sat, full of knowledge, Chit, and blissful, Ananda. This material body is neither Sat, Chit, or Ananda. It is perishable, whereas the person who is occupying the body is imperishable. It is also full of ignorance, and because it is ignorant and temporary, it is full of misery. We feel severe hot or severe cold due to the material body, but as soon as we revive our spiritual body, we become unaffected by dualities. Even while within the material bodies, there are yogis who are impervious to dualities such as heat and cold. As we begin to make spiritual advancement while in the material body, we begin to take on the qualities of a spiritual body. If we put iron into a fire, it becomes hot, and then it becomes red hot, and finally it is no longer iron but fire. Whatever it touches bursts into flames. As we become advanced in Krishna consciousness, our material body will become spiritualized, and we will no longer be affected by material contamination. Jai, let's conclude on this powerful point. Jai. I love this book, really. It really, honestly, recording this podcast is like one of those times of the day when I just feel super surcharged and recharged and super inspired. Jai. So I'm sure you were also inspired because this is Srila Prabhupada. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and we shall continue this beautiful chapter in the next episode tomorrow. The link to this book is in the description. Don't forget that, please, and we shall see you next time. Hare Krishna!